Councillor Shearer? No. Councillor Lambie?
Well, there's David.
No, he's gone.
He's gone.
Okay, Councillor Shearer, sorry, I can see that you're here. Are you having difficulties? Are you? Oh, he's gone. Right, something's not right.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. At long last, thank you.
Finally. Okay. Okay, so where are we? So do we have Councillor Horsham as a no? Don't have Councillor Lambert. I have apologies from Councillor Lockhart. We have Councillor Logan, Councillor Marsh, Councillor McCallan, Councillor McClymont, Councillor Shearer, and we also have a number of officers present today. I'll hand back to yourself, Chair. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. We're having some technical difficulties today, but that's why we're a wee bit late in starting. The business is declarations of interest, and I would ask anybody to declare any interests. I know we have Councillor Marsh for item 8. Is that correct, Carol? Kitford Bank Homing and Sporting Club in Lanark.
And also the play scheme application.
Oh, and a play scheme application. Okay, that's fine. David?
Not a declaration of interest, but a declaration of transparency on the item for care and repair, as I am the chairman of Care and Repair Lanarkshire. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Well, I better have the same because I'm on the board of Care and Repair. I'm on the fire service, so I'm fine with that one. So you can put that in, Carol, if you don't mind. Thank you. So item 2 is the minutes of the previous meeting, pages 3 to 8. Can we agree those minutes?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 3 is the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service 2024-25 Annual Performance and Activity Report. I'll invite Thomas Key, Group Commander, to speak to the report. Thank you. We're having issues. We'll get back to you in a minute.
Good afternoon, everyone. As was mentioned, I'm Group Commander Tommy Kay. I am Head of Prevention Pan Lanarkshire. I've been asked to tender the apologies on behalf of Station Commander Paul Matheson, who should have been here today as the Station Commander for Lanark. However, Paul is unavailable as he's on a training course. So the purpose of this report is to provide members an update in respect of the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service activity within the Clydesdale area, and how this activity is measured against the agreed targets for the period 24-25. The current version of the local fire plan for South Lanarkshire has 6 key priorities and are summarised as reduction of dwelling fires, reduction of fire casualties and fatalities, a reduction of deliberate fire setting, a reduction of fires in non-domestic property, a reduction in road traffic collisions, and a reduction of unwanted fire alarm signals. From these 6 key priorities, performance targets were devised and incorporated into the local area fire plan, and these are monitored regularly within the service. During the report today, I will talk about primary and secondary fires. I think it is key that I do make sure that everybody understands what a deliberate or a secondary and a primary fire is. So a primary fire is something in like a house, a commercial building or a car, something that you can attribute an insurance claim to. A secondary fire is like domestic, or a derelict building or grass or rubbish. In the summary page, we see that we have attended a total of 917 incidents, which is down 3% compared to the previous year. Fires have declined to 246, which is a 17% decline. Non-fire incidents have risen by 2%, but I'll cover that later in the report. False alarms have also risen slightly by 3%, and unwanted fire alarm signals have fallen by 11%. During the period of the report, 32 people have been rescued by firefighters from all incidents. And finally, within the summary, we see that we've conducted a total of 413 home fire safety visits and conducted 84 fire safety audits in commercial premises, which again I'll cover in more detail as we go through the report. If we then move to page 4, you will see the trend page. The trend page is just 4-year data on a quarterly basis of 5 of the 6 KPIs. And again, these trends will be explored in more detail as we go through the report. I'm now moving to page 5, which is covered by accidental dwelling fires. Over the period, there was 36 accidental dwelling fires, which is an increase of 5 over the previous reporting period. Our community action team consistently delivers risk recognition training to partner agencies, and we look for those partner agencies to refer those most at risk from fire into the service. And we have a quarterly rolling programme with South Lanarkshire's care teams in place to improve the number of visits we receive. We work closely with social work, housing and various other partners to ensure that all members of the local community who are identified as adults at risk of harm are fully supported and care packages are put in place to keep them safe. After every domestic incident, a post-domestic incident response is carried out, which is the offer of a home fire safety visit to the house that required the attendance. I will now explore the 36 incidents in a wee bit more detail. So in terms of the property breakdown, 19 were in houses, 8 were in flats, 3 were in sheltered housing, 2 were in tenement and 4 were in other buildings. In terms of ignition, the main source was a cooking appliance, which happened in 21 of all occasions. The location of most fires was within the kitchen, and the item most ignited was a food product. In terms of human factors, distraction impacted on 7 of those incidents, impairment by drugs or alcohol on 4, and falling asleep on 3. In terms of smoke detection, it was present in 30 of 36 incidents. In 22 of those incidents, it did raise the alarm to allow the people to leave safely. And the most common time of day for the accidental dwelling fire was between 3 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. In terms of fire damage, the first item ignited was 27% or 27 of all incidents. The room of origin happened on 4 occasions, the floor of origin on 3 occasions, and the whole building being affected by fire was only on 2, and I'll give further detail to those 2 incidents. The first one was in Rigside in July, where a garden shed went on fire, which then caught the house, and the householder lost the roof of their property. And the second one was in Douglas Water, and it was a permanently unoccupied derelict 4 in a block of flats, and again, that was impacted by it. In terms of firefighting action, the two that I've just mentioned required us to use what we class as main jets to extinguish the fire. A main jet, just for clarity, is the largest hose that we have with the capability of delivering the largest quantity of water. On 13 of the 36 occasions, no firefighting action was required. On 10 of occasions, we just had to remove the item first ignited from the heat source. On 11 occasions, we required to use small but high-pressure hose reel jets to extinguish, and on 2 occasions, we just had to isolate the electrics to stop the fire. In terms of evacuations, only one person required to be evacuated during the period, and that was from a male in a sheltered housing flat, and it was due to careless handling of smoking materials. As a result of that individual, we've also now provided that person with fire retardant bedding to try and improve their safety within the home. If we now move to the next page, we're talking about accidental dwelling fire casualties. There were no fire casualties or fatalities within this period. Now moving to non-fire casualties. So this is special services. We continue to work with partner agencies to look to reduce the number of casualties from special service incidents. However, the SFRS are seeing an increase in the request for assistance from partner agents to gain entry to properties for emergency medical response. So as much as the figure does look like a negative, the fact that we're providing that wider safety and the wider help to other partners, it's actually a positive. In terms of fatalities, we did see 6 fatalities. Over the period, 3 were from road traffic collisions, which I'll cover further in the report. 1 was a request from the Scottish Ambulance Service to assist with our DFib. The 5th one was relating to affecting entry for Scottish Ambulance Service. And the 6th fatality. I'm conscious that this will be placed on the Council's YouTube channel, and due to the sensitive nature of that fatality, I will not give any additional information. In terms of non-fatal casualties, we had a total of 48 casualties from 34 incidents. The majority of them were from road traffic collisions. 12 of the 48 occurred between noon and 3 o'clock, and the most common hours of the day were between 2 and 3 a.m. and 1 and 2 p.m. In terms of road traffic collisions, out of the 48 casualties, 29 were from road traffic collisions, 5 were from affecting entry for partners, and the most common type of injuries that were sustained is 20 people required to attend hospital for serious injuries from RTCs, and there was no water rescue throughout that reporting period. We'll now move on to deliberate fires. And in terms of deliberate fires, we've seen a reduction of 24%, down from 140, with refuse and rubbish as the most common type. There has been a decrease across all 4 wards. Using our internal incident mapping software, we're able to identify areas of high activity and target our prevention work accordingly. In terms of high-risk areas, schools are offered class presentations. For medium-risk areas, schools are offered year group assembly presentations, and for low-risk areas, schools are emailed presentations that we have. Between February and April, the Community Action Team offered antisocial behaviour deliberate fire setting talks to S2s, and approximately 200 young people at Carluke and Larkhall Academies received those talks. The talks were also offered to Lanark Grammar. We've also been conducting talks and working with small groups in Carluke alongside Universal Connections. During October, for bonfire and firework season, we've done some presentations to S1s in Carluke and Lanark, and we also utilised Universal Connections. In terms of deliberate fires, there was 19 in total. 7 were in cars, and we work closely with Police Scotland, and any car fire is reported in case it's linked to criminality. We had 3 dwelling fires. 1 was where somebody set fire to their own property. 2 were limited to the item first ignited, and 1 was where the whole room was affected. We've had 2 further fires relating to Lanark Job Centre. None required to be extinguished by main jets, but could be dealt with low level. In terms of deliberate secondary fires, we had 121 deliberate second fires. 3 of these were on the 5th of November. March was the busiest month for us in terms of secondary fires, and it was 26. The busiest time of day is between 6 and 7 o'clock. And during bonfire season last year, the crews were attacked with fireworks in Curluke. I'll now move to non-domestic fires. So these are fires within commercial premises. These fires on the commercial premises, there were 7. This is a decrease from 9 the previous year. Whenever we have a fire in any commercial premises, we deploy our fire safety enforcement teams to go in and make sure that the buildings are compliant with fire safety legislation and offer guidance where appropriate. Not necessarily to this ward, but what I can say to you over the last 3 to 4 months, as Scottish Fire and Rescue Service, we have issued more enforcement and prohibition notices in the last 3 to 4 months than we have in about the last 5 years. All right. 2 of the incidents that we have already discussed were listed against Job Centre. No instance led to the whole building burning affected. No evacuations were required, and 2 of the incidents just required a hose reel jet, the low-level hose, to extinguish. Moving on again to unwanted fire alarm signals. So, in terms of an unwanted fire alarm signal, we had 176 this year. 42 of them related to burnt toast. 153 of them we were made aware of them by a call centre, and 3 most common sites for unwanted fire alarm signals were in Crawford, Whiston and Simonton. I'll now move on to road traffic collisions. So there's a total of 59 incidents, which is an increase of 54 over the previous year. And as discussed earlier, we did have 3 fatalities. Those were on the Elvin Foot, we had a male motorcyclist. On the M74, again, a male motorcyclist. And we also had a male driver who died in Douglas. The most common type of vehicle accident involves cars, which is 38, lorries or HGV 5, and motorcycles 4. Fridays and Sundays are the 2 most common days for having a road traffic collision, and February was the month with most accidents. And the most common time of day for accidents is between noon and 1 and 9 and 10 at night. 5 incidents requested people to be evacuated. The most common locations for all incidents was the A70, where we had 5, the A721, where we had 3, the M74 North, 14, and the M74 South, 6. In terms of non-fatal casualty profile, males were the most common to be injured, or receive the most common injuries. Drivers were the people most common to receive injuries as well. And the age profiling of most people was between 20 to 29 or 40 and 49 was the most common. Again, we do a significant amount of education around road traffic collisions, and I am the Joint Road Safety Lead for Scotland in terms of road traffic collisions, and a lot of stuff that we're doing national to try and adopt into Lanarkshire. So the Community Action Team have been distributing older driver safety leaflets within the area, and we're trying to educate the over 70s regarding the requirement to renew licences at 70, and also about eyesight and making sure that they can read number plates. We deliver educational road safety programmes every week during the Fire Reach programme that we run at Coatbridge, and again that programme is also run at Hamilton infrequently, but it is run there as well. We work closely with local police and offer increased road safety awareness about risky taking behaviours, and we also go to schools where we have educational activities. We have also run Biker Down, because clearly we see bikers as a vulnerable road user, and nationally we are continually to see road bikers as a priority, as do Transport Scotland and the police. And again, the 7th session we've run has resulted in a total of 92 bikers receiving that educational programme. Finally, in relation to road traffic collisions, we've also run a course at Châtellerault, which was presenting junior road safety, and that was to 250 people from South Lanarkshire. We then move on to home fire safety visits and fire safety enforcement. In terms of home fire safety visits, we conducted a total of 413, and 191 of them related to high risk. As a positive, or I see it as a positive, we are the highest performing area in Scotland in terms of home fire safety visits, not necessarily just in terms of volume, but also targeting those most at risk from fire. This year, however, we have changed our approach, where we used to offer home fire safety visits to everybody. But as you can guess, there were people who were abusing the service, so we have limited to people who we can clearly see are at risk from fire. We also look at the fire safety audits. There's a total of 84 audits have been conducted this year from the areas, from the officers that are based in Clydesdale. And just finally, in terms of community safety engagement activity, as much as the engagement activity I've talked about so far, Chair, we've conducted another 302 separate engagement events across Clydesdale, aiming to try and improve the safety of the communities within this area. And that brings the report to a conclusion.
Thanks very much, Tommy. Do any members have any questions or anything they want to ask? Ralph? Thank you.
Right, thanks, Chair, and thanks. What a clear report we've had from Tommy. Partly questions. I have to say, the visit from your staff to check smoke and carbon dioxide detectors a while ago, I thought it was a very good visit. As it happened, I had got them in. I think the legal requirement for them has been dropped now. I'm not sure. You mentioned quite a few incidents, Crawford and Whiston. Was there any common cause for them? I mean, it's nothing about solid fuel heating or anything. There seems to be a fire engine in our village in Crawford just about every week, but at the far end. I'm pleased that you're interested in traffic collisions. Minor collisions don't seem to be of much interest to other services. You know, as long as there's nobody injured, it seems to be just carry on as before. So I was interested in that. I don't know if you comment on that at all, but I'd like to come back on battery storage after that, if that's possible. So just thanks for the fire visit. Was there any common cause in those incidents in the upper ward, like Crawford, Whiston, etc.?
In terms of the smoke detector legislation, that's here and it's in and it's not going anywhere. So there is absolutely a requirement for duty holders and householders to comply with the new legislation. In terms of the Whiston, Symington and
I think it was Crawford.
Crawford, sorry, yeah. It is one premise in each location. We know exactly what premise it is, and I don't think it's fair to name and shame them here. What we are doing behind the scenes is we are working with those duty holders to say it's your premises that's causing us the problem. You're causing blue light journeys, which is then getting an impact about, again, back to road safety, and we're then taking people away from their whole-time employments and other things. And we do work with the duty holders through our own policies to try and actually get them, if it's a faulty detector, to change the faulty detector. If it is other cause, then we see if we can work with them to try and stop those activations. But it's not something we're just sitting going, it's another activation, we've got nothing to do. We absolutely try and challenge them on every occasion. Does that answer the questions?
Sorry, thanks for putting that back on. Just a point on battery storages. It's just really to make everybody aware. This council, planning committee for this council recently approved an application for a battery storage depot, 50 metres the boundary of the site 50 metres from the nearest residential house, and the site itself covered over the main gas pipelines, the main Scottish, England gas pipelines. The actual battery packs themselves were just that setback, but it is a concern, and the planning authority's view is there'd be no objections from statutory consultees, but I find that Fire and Rescue Service isn't a statutory consultee for things like battery storage, which are coming to be the, it's an expanding industry at the moment. I've discussed it with the union and they say it's disgraceful, and I've raised it with the service and they're looking at it. But just to make everybody aware, when there are risks from these battery storages, and I think rescue and Fire and Rescue Service should be able to make direct comment in planning applications, because there's lots and lots of them coming up. Just incidentally, I mean, from the Coat Bridge, during the winter, I witnessed a fire at an electric substation at Kirkwood, and it was in the night, and it was a bit like the start of Tom Cruise's War of the Worlds. It was things going up in the air and exploding. The services attended very quickly, but when these things go on fire, it's a big issue. Thanks.
Thanks for that. I can absolutely confirm that we are not a statutory consultee. You're absolutely right on that. Is there concerns about battery storage? Of course there is. There's concerns about lots of other buildings out there in the communities as well. But as such, the service is looking to see if there's something that can be done, and I'm well aware that there are other agencies looking for us to be statutory consultees because of their concerns around them, and as such I can't make any further comment on it.
Councillor Logan.
Daisy, thanks very much, Chair. And it was a very interesting today to hear all these different statistics, and your presentation was, and your presentation skills, I may add, was is excellent. I say this every time because I'm always concerned, because of the nature of South Lanarkshire Council, and in particular the Clydesdale Park, where we have this long strip of motorway. I think it's the largest strip in Scotland. Motorway runs right through the heart of Clydesdale area. Our numbers is always a bit skew-wiff because you have to put in accidents and things, but if you take it out and take them all apart, it's the figures is no just as bad as just looking at them starkly. But nothing you can do about, actually nothing you can do about that. And the other thing, I can't see it, and maybe I'm not looking right, bicycles on the road. You've got cars and lorries and motorcycles, vans, other people on bicycles. Because now the weather's getting nice and we're travelling up and down the Clyde side a lot, you see packs of bicycle, it must be group, I presume clubs or something like that. And one of the times when I was coming, it was back for here, I thought there's going to be an accident because people were getting very, very annoyed that they were getting stuck behind all the bicycles. Do they not come into, or are we lucky and there's been nothing regarding bicycles?
Thanks for that, Councillor Logan. In terms of cyclists, I'll start with that one if it's okay. So we are not seeing any accidents involving cyclists within this area. What I can say to you is part of the national work that I'm doing, we do have a presentation that's sitting in the background that should we start seeing cyclists as an issue within this area, that we can start doing education in that. Scottish Government, Transport Scotland, police, ourselves, there is a significant volume of work that's going on behind the scenes, and with some of the work that we're doing national, we see that Cycling Scotland are also conducting trend analysis to see if there's ways that they can improve the outcomes for people who are using bikes. I think the big flaw for me in that is that a lot of people haven't updated their knowledge with the new highway code, where cyclists are now one of the vulnerable user groups, and as such do need to be given 1.5 metres as you go by them. And there's many times that I think most of us will be driving home or what and see people narrowly going by drivers and things. So there are clear times that you could see an accident coming, but nationally there's a significant volume of work that's ongoing. I'll also come back about the RTCs. I know we spoke about this last week at the Scrutiny Committee, and you're absolutely right that when we look at the stats, I think if we look at it in isolation, you could look at it and say there's a specific area issue in South Lanarkshire. And I think a good news story is that between all the partners in terms of the emergency services, police ourselves and ambulance service, we provide our stats to Transport Scotland. And those stats are analysed in more depth than potentially has gone by. And as such, we're able to look at it and see what that is. And then that further analysis is allowing us to put proper intervention programmes in place.
Okay. Thanks for that. Eileen, are you finished? Yeah, thank you.
Sorry.
I just had a question. It was a comment more than a question, I suppose. Is you did mention a couple of times about Athol House, the former job centre, as you referred to it, and it's an empty property. And there's various agencies I've been at in the last few months, and I did see your fire engine up there the day, and I did speak to them about it. But it's what do we do about these empty properties? So I've been speaking to Kenny McRoberts, the inspector, and I suggested to him, with yourselves and the ASBO team, to get together and write to the owner. I know there's great difficulty in getting a hold of him, but I think we've got some information on him now, to raise this, because it is really a concern for the constituents, and it is about public safety, and one of these days I think it's going to go up in flames, and it might impact on our train station and our services, and it will impact on the constituents then. So if there's anything you can do to help in that. And I noticed you said talks were offered to Lanark Grammar. Did they not take them up? Because it might be the Lanark Grammar, it might not be the Lanark Grammar people that are in there setting fire, but if they didn't take it up, I'd be a bit disappointed. And usually the head teacher's very good in there. So it's just to get some comment on that. Thanks.
Thanks for that, Chair. In terms of Lanark Grammar, it was specifically about bonfire talks. So we do engage with the schools, and they have been very good with us. As somebody who lives in Lanark also, I have got great concerns regarding the job centre, and the reason I say that is we had the pub opposite the petrol station in Ladyacre Road that you will remember went up years ago. We had the Caledonian Hotel, which is now the flats. We have the Vogue Bingo Hall, which is about to get refurbed. So there's lots of stuff in that area, and especially knowing that there's a care home that nobody really sees just behind there. So for me, there's lots of stuff in that area, and knowing that there has been numerous fires in that area, that is causing me a wee bit of concern. We have already had tactical meetings with the police and various other partners to see how we can deal with it. We nationally are going through a huge problem where we have all your influencers or people that think they're influencers go onto TikTok and various other social media platforms and get into derelict properties, and then they're making it attractive to other people going into derelict properties. And we're now at the point where it's not in South, but it's in North Lanarkshire, where we've got youths turning up on a daily basis to premises that they keep securing with an angle grinder and cutting away the metal sheeting that's there to protect that property. So there's huge challenges, but I think the big challenge is we've got an owner who's failing to engage. And it's not within the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service's gift to do anything. I know there is under the trading or building standards. Sorry, there is legislation there, but again they'll be limited to budgets and various other drivers. So I fully understand that. I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Tommy, I don't think the building control side of it, the issue is it's no a dangerous building. It maybe is once you get into it, but, and people shouldn't be getting into it, but you know, it's just trying to engage with this owner. It's really, really difficult, but I appreciate what you're trying to do. And do you want to come back in? Yeah.
So if it offers a level of reassurance, so speaking to the crews that were at the most recent fire at the job centre, there is nothing internal that can burn. Most stuff has actually been removed internally, which will give you a level of reassurance, but certainly when you drive by it and you now see all the windows are destroyed and stuff, I don't know, is the CCTV camera still up at the bus station? It was fitted last year, so again, there's things that are there that hopefully acts as a level of deterrent. But yeah, it's something that's clearly a blight on the local community. But yeah, it's something that you're hoping at a point that the owner takes their responsibility and actually deals with it.
Thanks for that. Eileen, are you wanting back in? Okay.
Through you, Chair. Not just in isolation as that building, but Mr Shearer's at this meeting as well. I suppose everybody could go to their own area where there's derelict buildings blighting, the landscape, plus they're dangerous, plus there was a fire and one in where I live in Carluke. So they're actually now becoming quite common. And in some cases, absolutely they know who the owners are, but according to other people that we spoke to, they've got enough money, they don't need to bother about the derelict properties, so they're no caring. So basically, I think it's probably no a job for environmental health or yourselves, the police or anybody. I think it's needing to get hoisted right up to Scottish Government level, where legislation comes in to say that's not acceptable even at that level, and then it's, you know, a fine, the money recouped to do whatever we need to do, because it's a growing, well, I think it's a growing trend, and I think I could go to 4 and 2 are right on the Clyde Valley route coming up, you know, supposedly the scenic route. So I think it's beyond what we can do or what our people can do, because the legislation just says, well, it's no dangerous, which is absolutely right for their point of view, but it needs to get stepped up so that people can't hide behind legislation. So I think it's new legislation that's required, which is taking it out of your and everybody else's domain.
Thanks, Eileen. Well, I did actually raise it with the MP as well, who's raised it with the Scottish Government, I believe. So I understand it's UK-wide, it's not just the Scottish side. So it's something I think that needs to be addressed, these emptied properties. But I don't see anybody else wanting to speak.
Yeah,
so, oh, sorry, Ross.
Thanks for the report and the answers to the questions. I noticed Clydesdale South was top of the league table for non-fire casualties by ward. Is that because of the rural nature of the specific area, or the motorway that's coming through it, and some of the, just from the top of your head, do you think some of the non-fire casualties were by car or other vehicles? Yep.
So some of it relates to the high-speed impact, but also some of it just relates to a lot of the accidents that I've attended more recently have been with quite a few people in the car or whatever. An example of that would be late last year I attended an RTC near the Lanark area with 6 people in a Corsa. So first of all, there shouldn't be 6 people in a Corsa, and it's things like that, and we are starting to see random events like that, and that's been replicated throughout Scotland.
Thanks, Ross and Tommy, for your answer. So we don't have anything else on the agenda that you need to answer, so if you would like to leave, you're free to do so, and thanks very much for that great presentation. Thank you. So we'll move on to item 4, which is Care and Repair Lanarkshire presentation. I invite Jamie Burgess, Chief Executive Care and Repair Lanarkshire, to speak to the report. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks very much for the invitation to come here and update you on the activities of Care and Repair in Lanarkshire. It's been a few years since I spoke to the area committees, so it's high time I give it an update. Care and Repair in Lanarkshire is an independent organisation. We are a registered charity and a company limited by guarantee. We're a member of ROSPA, a living wage employer. And there are 3 independent care and repair charities in Scotland, one in Aberdeen, one in Loch Lomond and one in Lanarkshire. There are about 28 care and repair services across Scotland. The other 25 of them are managed by local housing associations and local authorities. Care and Repair in Scotland started in 1988 with about 10 pilot projects. There are currently 28 care and repair services operating at various degrees in Scotland. Care and Repair started initially to assist homeowners with major home repairs. That's when there was money available to replace roofs and windows and major home adaptations. This soon included medical adaptations and expanded to meet clients' needs. The original care and repair services were fully funded by local authorities, and projects were delivered to residents were offered free of charge. Care and Repair in South Lanarkshire began in 1996. The service was initially managed by Clydesdale Shelter, and then by Clydesdale Housing Associations, and became an independent charity in 2004, where we moved to Hope Street, where we are still currently. So our charity now is 21 years old, and we've operated out of Lanarkshire for that entire time. During COVID, we did not shut down. We continued to operate normally and carry out home visits for clients who needed help, although we did take a lot of precautions to keep clients and ourselves safe. During this time, clients were asking for help for work from contractors who were unwilling or unable to help out at that time. One client contacted us saying she'd just been quoted £100 for an electrician to attend to change a light bulb in her kitchen. Many clients are now living in isolation with few family members able to attend quickly or carry out small job. Due to this, we decided to start a free small repairs service in the project using it was £10,000 that was allocated to us from the Community Wellbeing Fund. The care and repair service in North Lanarkshire at this time had closed in 2019, and clients during COVID were also contacting us from North Lanarkshire for help with small repairs. So we decided to start working on small repairs in North Lanarkshire as well. This eventually led to the decision to change the care and repair service from Care and Repair South Lanarkshire to Care and Repair Lanarkshire in 2022. I have a slide now which is showing all of our team members, which unfortunately you can't see. The Lanark team, we have this is the Lanark team. There's 10 of us in Lanark and another 6 care and repair officers in Dumfries and Galloway. In Lanarkshire, we've got, and in Dumfries and Galloway, in fact, we have a very low turnover. We've lost 3 members since COVID. 2 have retired, and 1 has was made redundant during COVID. We've been rebuilding since COVID. We've been rebuilding the team, and part of that was taking on candidates via the Kickstart programme. And Keegan, these pictures in the slide there, joined us in 2021 as a Kickstart candidate, and since that time he's completed an apprenticeship with us, is learning to drive, and has become a really valuable member of the team. It's been a great success, and great success for the Kickstart programme as well. Our clients are generally elderly clients over the age of 60, or clients of any age who are living with a disability, a life-limiting illness, or clients are generally owner-occupiers, or they're living as private rented tenants. Some of our projects also assist vulnerable clients, children under the age of 5, military veterans, and victims of crime. Some projects assist clients living in local authorities, council housing, or RSL housing. When we look at working in rented properties, we have to remember that some landlords are responsible for the maintenance work, or some maintenance work, and that we have to get permission to carry out work that any small repairs that we'll be carrying out. The aim of the charity is to carry out work to enable clients to continue to live at home for as long as possible in a safe and secure environment. We do this by carrying out work to adapt, repair and maintain clients' properties. I carry out lots of visits to user groups, and we talk and listen to clients to understand what they need so we can offer the correct assistance. When clients contact us on the telephone, which they do every single day, we never say, "That's not my job." We always try to find a solution, whether it's a referral onto another organisation. We never let a client hang up when they don't know what they can do. As I said before, Care and Repair in Lanarkshire is an independent charity and a company limited by guarantee. We have a board of 10 volunteer directors and 10 staff working across Lanarkshire on various projects. We never contact clients directly, and this is because many of our clients are vulnerable. They're living alone, living with a disability or a life-limiting illness. Most of our clients contact us directly via telephone, or they refer to us by partner agencies. It's very important that we don't cold call any of our clients. Once a client has contacted us, we'll contact them back, we'll make an appointment, and we'll stick to that appointment. We'll arrange a time to visit, we'll arrive on time, and if we're not on time, we'll contact them to say what time we will arrive then. We'll all arrive in uniform, like this uniform here, with a Care and Repair logo on it. We'll all have identification badges. We'll all be driving vans with the Care and Repair. With the Care and Repair logo. And all of our staff have their photographs published on the website. And this is very important so that when we visit, clients are absolutely sure that it's a Care and Repair officer that's going to be visiting them and not somebody who's going to be carrying out a scam. And we'll come to a bit about scams later on. I have a table now on slide 9 showing number of home visits completed since I joined Care and Repair in Lanarkshire in 2018. I'll just quickly go through the list. 2018, 1,251 home visits. 2019, 1,710 visits. 2020, 2,892. 21, 4,362. 22, 6,622. 6,622. 2023, 6,188. And 2024, 4,038. This is quite a lot of home visits. These are unique home visits. In some cases, we may visit one property more than once in a year, but most of these properties are individual visits over a year. You may see some significant rises there and drops. 2021, there's a as Tommy was just talking a moment ago about, there was a change in the legislation for fire detection, and we worked closely with the Scottish Government installing interlinked fire detection, and that increased our number of home visits significantly. 2022, we started working in North Lanarkshire, and we began to see an increase in referrals at that time and working with clients at that time in North Lanarkshire. In 2024, we're no longer installing so many fire detection units now, and we're seeing a bit of a reduction in the work we're doing with social work with telecare. So we've seen a bit of a reduction there now. How are we funded? Care and Repair in Lanarkshire is fortunate to receive an annual funding of around about £31,000 from NHS Lanarkshire. We use this funding to support the small repairs project. And without this funding, I don't think we'd be able to help as many clients in financial hardship across Lanarkshire. Small repairs in itself is never going to be self-funding. It's always going to be requiring some form of funding to make it affordable and accessible, especially to clients who are in financial hardship. Care and Repair does not receive any other funding to support the charity. we operate a number of procured contracts, which I'll talk about later, services paid for directly by clients, and projects where funding is independently sourced to support the projects so they can be delivered free of charge. Where we make a surplus from any of the services that we charge for, that surplus is then recycled back in to support other projects. The projects that we're operating in Lanarkshire, we try and keep the costs as low as possible. We are a non-profit making organisation, but we do need to cover our overheads. Clients contact us for help with small repairs, and small repairs can be anything from assembling flat pack furniture, resiliconing a shower tray, replacement of door lock, or unblocking a kitchen sink. They call us because they're unable to get a contractor to assist with such small job, and if they did come out, it'd be too expensive. This project helps clients continue to maintain their property in a reasonable standard and so they can continue to live at home safely. We have a small falls prevention project, and this project is really important for clients with balance or mobility issues. Even a small fall at home can lead to hospitalisation and following rehabilitation, and in many cases, a loss of confidence by the clients, so they're unable to continue to live at home after a fall. I mentioned earlier that we still install fire detection, and we find that even with a huge advertising campaign and all the thousands of devices that we've been installed, many owner-occupiers still do not have any fire detection at all in their properties. Or if we do discover them, the batteries are dead or the batteries are missing from the fire detection. Where we discover this, we advise the client, we offer to install fire detection for them, or we refer them on to other agencies such as the fire service. I've got some pictures now of ramps and things for slide 12 and 13. These are handrails and things that we've been installing with connection to the falls prevention programme. I'll say about the handrails. Just last week, we were contacted by a client who'd been quoted £1,000 for a single handrail at her front door. She asked us to come out and quote, and we quoted, and we installed a handrail at her front door and a handrail at her back door for £320. This is just what we're trying to do here, is to make the work as affordable as possible for clients. Well, we're still covering our costs, but making it affordable is enabling people to have this equipment installed, which is making their homes safer. Current projects that we're operating right across Lanarkshire, North and South Lanarkshire. Now, these are funded projects. These are free projects for clients to access. Safest Houses project. I'm actually just come back from a presentation in Cambuslang just at the moment with a group of ladies who are victims of domestic abuse. Now, I've explained to them about the Safest Houses project, and this is a free service. I applied for funding to run it from the National Lottery, and it will run a funding now until September this year. This project assists victims of domestic abuse and victims of crime and enables them to remain safe at home. What we do is we'll visit clients and we'll install safety equipment such as impact devices on doors and windows. We'll install door viewers. We can provide equipment like personal safety alarms and wedges for doors and things like that. We can also advise them that they can access funds through the Emergency Assistance Fund for installation of things like Ring doorbells and UV CCTV and solar panelled lights, exterior lights, which we'll install for them free of charge as well. We find it's a really important project that we're operating. We've operated it for a number of years now, and unfortunately the number of clients that request help has not gone down, it's actually increased. We operate a project called Electrical Safety First. This is a free project. It's assisting clients with practical advice and grant funding for electrical safety work within their home. And we're able to offer a grant of up to £500 to fund work that will make electrical things like broken sockets and broken lights and electrical showers, and we can replace that and make the home electrically safe. Part of what has to happen here is during that work we have to carry out an electrical safety survey, a home condition survey of the property. And this goes back to electrical safety first, because they are building up a picture of the electrical condition of properties across Scotland. A wee project that we've got where we fundraise ourselves is called a message in a bottle, or a bottle in the fridge. You may have heard of this. This is a small this is a bottle with a green cross on it, which is kept in the fridge. In that bottle there's a form that's filled out with medical details and next of kin, medicines that might be taken, details of any pets or anything like that. And medical professionals know to look on refrigerators. I think as they see the green cross on the refrigerator, they know that information is kept in the refrigerator in this little bottle. I mentioned we have a couple of procured contracts. One is that we install all of the telecare, that's the community alarms, in South Lanarkshire on behalf of social work. When I say we've installed them all, we don't actually install them all, we install the more complex installations. This is where the community alarms linked to things like fire detection, smoke and CO detection, exit sensors, fall sensors, motion sensors, a whole range of different peripheral devices that can be linked to the community alarm. These community alarms are linked to the ARC, which is the Alarm Receiving Centre in Hamilton. So Tommy was mentioned earlier about a number of alarms that there was attended. Some of these will be linked directly to community alarms, where a fire detection has been actuated and the Alarm Receiving Centre is then called the Fire Brigade. We've done a lot of work recently changing from the analogue system to the digital system, and that work's still ongoing just now. I manage the care and repair service in Dumfries and Galloway, and in Dumfries and Galloway they are carrying out medical adaptations, and all I say about that is we receive a management fee for that service. Project starting in 2025. Partnered with a company called Easy Access, who supply and manufacture modular metal ramps. And we're going to be offering metal ramps for clients with disabilities across Lanarkshire and across Dumfries and Galloway. And we'll survey properties and install metal ramps for them so they can access their properties using wheelchairs or mobility scooters. And we're also looking at working with Gebrit. Now Gebrit supply in wash-dry toilets. And because we have a plumber and an electrician now working for us at Care and Repair, we're able to install these wash-dry toilets. When I say wash-dry, is the person who's using the toilet will to clean themselves will be cleaned using a water spray and then dried using an air dryer. And this gives clients the ability to use the toilets independently without any help. And it's a great comfort to a lot of clients if we can install these for them. We had a few other projects that we were running last year, and funding has been exhausted. So I'm continually applying for funding to run various different projects. One of the projects we ran, which I'm still looking for funding for, is the Under Fives project. This was a project that we only took referrals for because otherwise we'd been totally inundated with requests for help. This was to help clients with children under the age of 5 with additional needs. And what we'd do there is we'd visit and offer home safety advice and install safety equipment to keep that child safe at home. And that was things from larger things like stair gates, we'd install to window restrictors, to a whole range of different equipment that we can install free of charge for children to keep them safe at home. We had a digital inclusion project, which was very popular. This was helping clients, eligible clients again, with all things digital. We weren't supplying equipment, it was just advice and assistance. So anything from help with your TV remote, to your laptop, to your smart speaker, to your, I don't know, anything at all. A couple of things that we did come across there which we found surprising. We had one lady, a 90-year-old lady, who asked for assistance to install voice recognition software on her laptop because she wanted to write her life story by just vocalising the story to the laptop. And another gentleman who was living with motor neuron disease, we installed a lock on his front door, which he could operate by speaking to his Alexa app. So just said, Alexa, open the door, and the Alexa app would open the door for him. So it's just funny how these sort of projects expand into areas that we didn't expect at all. And then we had another project, which was the over 60s home safety project, which was, as it says, really what we're doing there was visiting clients, carrying out an assessment, a survey of the clients' homes, identifying hazards within the home. This might be fire hazards or trip hazards, electrical hazards, and trying to eliminate them immediately or take steps to eliminate them in a short period of time. Scams. When I give presentations to clients, I raise awareness about the scams that are going around just at the moment. I know personally of one client we've dealt with quite a lot in the last year or so. He was targeted 3 times, 3 separate occasions over a period of a year for roof work. He didn't actually need any work done to his roof in the first instance. At the end of the day, though, after 3 occasions, he had spent over £30,000 on a roof, and then he still had to get it repaired at the end of the day. Clients that we work with are vulnerable, and the scam artists are very, very plausible nowadays. So it's what we say to clients is never accept any contractor who comes to your doors to offer you work. Always, if they want to, they can contact us and we'll come out and visit to see if there's any work actually is required, or they can contact trading standards. We also advise that if they do have to get work carried out, that we can then help them with selecting a contractor from the buy with confidence list or contractors that we understand and know ourselves that we've used in the past, so they can ensure that they're going to get a reputable contractor to help them. Part of our job as well, especially with small repairs, as I said, we visited over 6,000 properties and 4,000 in the last year. It's really important that we don't just go out to unblock the sink or to make the flat pack furniture or to fit up the fire detection. When we visit a property, we have to be aware of the situation that client is living in. And it may not just be, it's important that we have a conversation with the client, we listen to what they're saying, and we're aware of their situation as well. If we're going into a property in the middle of winter and it's freezing cold and the client's sitting in the sitting room with hat and scarf and glove on, it's important that we ask the question, why is your heating not working? What can we do to help you? Can we refer you on to Home Energy Scotland? Perhaps you're eligible for a replacement boiler. Can we refer you to the CAB or Money Matters, and you can have an assessment to make sure you're getting all the benefits that you're entitled to. So it's not just, we're really lucky to be invited into people's homes, and we may be the first agency that's in these people's homes. So I think it's important for us that we do take the opportunities there to look at the additional value that we can offer. And linked to that is I give presentations regularly, probably 1 a week, right across North and South Lanarkshire to a variety of different groups. I mentioned I gave a presentation this morning to a group of ladies who had experienced domestic abuse. The other week I gave a presentation to a group, there's the Macular Society in Lanark. It was a very difficult presentation because they couldn't really see me and most of them were deaf. So it was quite difficult to give that presentation. But what I did able to do there was I able to give them leaflets that they could give then to their carers or their family members, and then they'd have that information to hand. The future. We recognise that funding for charities is limited and not generally available now. I no longer apply for funding unless I'm absolutely 100% sure that I'm meeting all of the eligibility criteria for the funding. There's no sense now in trying to twist your funding application to meet it, because the funding is so strict now, it'll just be automatically rejected. We also recognise that limited income streams leave an organisation in a really vulnerable position. And so with this in mind, that's why we're developing various different strands of funding and income to make sure that should we lose one strand, it won't have a major impact on the charity as a whole. We're constantly listening and speaking to our clients right across Lanarkshire and make sure that their needs are identified. Examples of this are the handrails projects and the ramps projects and the toilet projects that we're looking at starting. We're looking for opportunities, I guess over the next couple of years, we're looking at opportunities to see if we can work even closer with the NHS and social work. And we hope to develop this over the next couple of years. I've got to say that we take our commitment to residents in Lanarkshire very seriously and understand that we have a duty to residents to protect the charity so that the future clients will be able to access help that we can provide. That's the end of the presentation, Chair. I hope if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thanks very much for that, Jamie. That was it was interesting. Obviously, I on the board know most of what you're doing, and I know what a good job that Care and Repair do for the area, both north and south. Do we have anybody with any questions or comments they would like to make? Ralph? Thanks.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks for that presentation. Obviously, Care and Repair have a good reputation since these days. Was there a clean break with the previous Lanarkshire Care and Repair of, say, 10 years ago it would have been about, which, as far as I could tell, were got taken in by unscrupulous subcontractors and ended up without the money to repair what the subcontractors had done. And I find it difficult to forget that period when it, they effectively closed down. But I take it there was a clean break, and obviously learn the lessons of building subcontractors.
I'm a little bit unsure of what you're referring to here. Are you referring to the Care and Repair service in North Lanarkshire? There hasn't been a break in the Care and Repair service in South Lanarkshire.
Okay. No, definitely South Lanarkshire. I mean, they did work in it was a Clydesdale Junction job that I was brought into. And so we must be talking about 2015, 2016, something like that.
Right.
And the last I heard from the man in charge and trying to do it was that they really had no funding left to repair the work that had just been done under their auspices. It was obviously unfortunate, and I could tell the building contractor had, in a way, a bit like you had mentioned, he had overcharged for absolutely incompetent work and really didn't care, and he saw this just as a way to skim off easy money. But that operation seemed to shut down. I mean, I could always try and but it's in the past now, and I think it's a completely different setup now. But it's always in my mind of what what happened then. Thanks.
Yep. Thanks very much. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure of what you're referring to, but I can
if you don't feel comfortable answering,
no, it's okay. I can assure you that we would take all steps to ensure that clients are protected now.
Yes, thank you.
Councillor Logan?
Thanks very much, Chair. I actually remember, that's how far back I go, the very first property that was renovated under the old Clydesdale. I could take you right to it. And the lady concerned at the time was elderly, and I think she was, it just all became too much, and it was an excellent job. And so you've came a tremendous journey since a way back then. And one of the things I want to, and I hope you would take back, I haven't got a part to play like Catherine or David, but I do, I'm the older people's champion for South Lanarkshire, as you know, and so we go to different things, and if you have a stall or a stand or whatever, you give out excellent information and it's always well received. I know it's because you're speaking to people and people are very interested. But one of the things that personally I'm pleased about, I have a great mantra in life: something for nothing is worth nothing. And people don't really appreciate, you know, well, sometimes they do, but in the main, it's, oh, it was nothing. But if you, and I did know quite a few people who would not contact you because they didn't know if it was a donation, if you like, and they said, well, what is the donation? So I think the fact now that you've got a wee price list for things actually helps, and people know they're not getting ripped off. People know that I've never had a single complaint, and I know people that's had, you know, grab rail, different things, because your staff have been professional and good coming out to them, and I'm no surprised they quote about £100 for a light. Even somebody like me, I'll only go to tradesmen that I trust for my tyres or whatever for my car. Tell me anything, because what do I know about a car or whatever? So a lot of people are in the same boat. Tell them something, or the poor man with his roof, you don't know, and then you become agitated and you don't know what to do, and it becomes a great big problem, so they do nothing, which is even worse. So I think that the professionalism that's there now, in my view, and seeing it firsthand at the different events that I go to is first class, and it's happening, and I think it's only right, and I think people do appreciate the price list and what it would be or what it wouldn't be, even, you know, for anything that you're doing. It's the fact that it's peace of mind, that it's honest people coming in and helping them and doing different stuff, you know, and you're not going to, you maybe want to wash your face for the materials or whatever it is you're going to use, but you're not there to rip anybody off. So all in all, I can only say that anybody that I've came across in the organisation, I knew people for years ago, but in recent times, the last 3 years in particular, more than ever I did before, superb, and a credit to your organisation, and nice to people. And I think it's right, people feel that they own whatever they're getting. If they're saying it's £20, that's fine. They're happy to pay their money. So all in all, I'm so pleased that it's still there after since all these years. And so am I, which is terrible. But anyway, excellent work, and thank you.
I'd like to say thank you very much for your kind words. I'm really pleased to hear the word professional there. We really do strive to do that. And I have to agree with you. I think, in my experience, free services are often abused. However, projects like the Safest Houses project, when I was describing the work that we can do free of charge to the clients this morning, I think price wasn't really an issue. They didn't even consider the price. They were just looking for help. And they're really pleased to get whatever help that they can. So I think for some projects, the free projects is the right way to go. But for other projects, a fee, which is not going to break the bank or rip people off, is appropriate. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Jamie. David Shearer?
Thanks, Chair. Obviously, I'm biased, being the chairman of Care and Repair Lanarkshire, but I do think it does an absolutely wonderful job. It gives peace of mind to our clients. It goes up. Jamie and his staff go above and beyond the call of duty because they go in there with empathy and wanting to assist people to remain in their homes. Yes, there has been struggles over the year, mainly through funding, but we are now coming out of that situation a much healthier and more robust organisation and able to do much, much more for our clients right across Lanarkshire and in Dumfries and Galway, where we are the managing agent. So, Jamie, could you please take back my thanks to yourself and every member of staff. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Obviously, that goes for me as well. Jamie, you know how I think of your organisation and what you do and what your staff. You've got excellent staff. And I'm pleased to see the handrails and the ramp projects, because what's happening now is obviously the council don't get the same funding as they used to get, and we don't have the money to provide that. But with your service being such a, you know, you're just taking costs basically, so people can come to you. And it's just to remind people, the presentation, part of the presentation was so that it reminds the councillors as well that they can go to your organisation and refer people. And if you can't, I mean, there's been one that you couldn't do anything for them at that time. You would be able to do it now, but not at that time. But you put them onto somebody else. You didn't just leave them hanging. You sorted it out for them. So, you know, it's really an excellent service. And you do care about the people that you're servicing, so that's really helpful. So there's, oh, Eileen, sorry.
I forgot about this, but it was when you were talking about handrails there, and I think it's right, and that's me going back to people are quite happy, families or whatever, to get a professional, and I mean professional. I've seen it standard for their loved person or whoever it is, and I think then it frees up monies for elsewhere, and it's right, you know, like prevention is better than if you fall out the door and then there's the cure to get a handrail to get yourself back in. But that wasn't what I was going to ask. How far down the line? I'm fascinated, and I think it's great, and I hope it comes off, and I would give every assistance that I could to work with, say, social work department, and in the main it's people who have bought properties that are now at the time of buying it was fine, but they can't manage stairs or whatever it is they can't manage. But I saw that in there about the handrails. But it's when you were talking about some kind of toilet, which I forget what you said, but I don't. You'd need to explain actually how it worked as well. Can I remember all that? But some people sometimes need, say, a wee extra toilet either down a stair or up, depending where they actually live. And I'm thinking, well, if you could become involved with social work, again, coming back to nothing for nothing, but if people knew they could come to you and maybe that type of thing. So I'm very interested in that and would help in any way. Well, we all would. But I hope the progression of that would come to, because it would stabilise your own charity company, whatever you would like, and your own workforce. But I think that's a great step forward, and I'd forgot about that when I was talking first time. Sorry, Kirsty.
Thanks very much. What you've touched on there is a project that's a proposal, I should say, that is sitting with social work just at the moment. You'll understand that for what you're talking about maybe is major home adaptations to assist people, you know, with physical disabilities or life-limiting illnesses. Installation of things like ramps and stair lifts and wet floor showers and additional toilets and things like that. And we understand that the grant funding is not available for all clients, only available for clients in a critical need. And grant funding is not a limitless pot either. So what we're looking at here is a project that will assist clients to self-fund adaptations, where they pay for the adaptations themselves. However, because they don't have family support or they're just unable to do the work themselves, they're unable to select contractors, to make specifications, to ensure that the work's carried out to a specified standard. That's what we're looking to assist clients with. But they'll pay for the work themselves rather than relying on grant funding. And that's a project that we are proposing just at the moment.
I did understand all that, but I think it's the fact that you've been security yourselves at the back.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. Eileen, you'll need to have a word with Suman, because that's with Suman just now. So you need to tell her what you support it. Put a plug in there for care and repair. So there's nobody else wanting to speak or ask you any questions. So Jamie, thank you very much for your presentation today, and we'll see you back in a year's time maybe. And you can leave the meeting now if you wish, because there's nothing else you need to deal with. Thank you very much. So we're moving on to item 5, the participatory budgeting education resources, pages 9 to 14. And I invite Ian Fleming, I presume you're the quality lead officer supporting families. I had a different name here, so I don't know what your title is, but you can tell us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, my name's Ian Fleming. I work in Education Resources as Lead Officer for Performance and School Improvement in South Lanarkshire Secondary Schools. But as part of my role, I'm the Quality Link Officer for the Lanark Grammar Learning Community, so Lanark Grammar and associated primaries. I've been asked to provide apologies for my Lead Officer colleague, Maureen Farr, who I presume is the name that you will have there, and also Head Teacher at Underbank Primary, Margot Miller. They're unable to attend today, but I'm delighted to be here and have the opportunity to present the update on participatory budgeting activity across the Clydesdale area. As you might be aware, participatory budgeting, or PB, is an approach where young people and their families directly influence how a portion of the Pupil Equity Fund, so PEF, is spent in schools. The aims of PB in education are to promote pupil and parent-carer voice in school decision-making, to ensure spending reflects local needs and priorities, and to improve engagement, equity and transparency. All South Lanarkshire schools, primary and secondary, are asked to allocate a minimum of 5% of their PEF funding to PB activity, and they were asked to do that for session 24-25. This is now embedded as part of core practice across our education resources. Head teachers were briefed regarding this in June 2024, and then in August 2024, PB training for new and existing leads was offered. Today, I'll provide a brief overview of how this looks across the Clydesdale area before focusing on a local case study from Underbank Primary School, which we feel is a strong example of meaningful engagement and impact, even within a small school and a small PEF budget setting. Within the Clydesdale area, our schools collectively allocated £80,485 for PB this year. That's around 5.5% of their combined roughly 1.43 million PEF allocation. There is a breakdown within the report of what that looks like by area and by school. Schools were supported through guidance, a dedicated PB Teams page and optional training in August. This helped staff understand the PB process and to share good practice. Engagement with families and young people continues to be a central focus, with pupils and parents carers taking an active role in identifying priorities and voting on projects. In terms of the case study for Underbank Primary, we feel that showcases how PB can be meaningful and inclusive, even on a small budget. With a very modest PB allocation of £420.80, Underbank made strong use of its staff and its existing pupil and parent councils to shape the process. They identified a range of possible options, including forest schools, outdoor learning and wellbeing resources. After consultation and a school community vote, the chosen project was to enhance interactive maths resources. This particular choice aimed to engage pupils who had been struggling with numeracy, particularly mental maths. The project focus was interactive digital tools to support ongoing focus from their school improvement plan on improving engagement with retrieval, retention and application for number fact. The expected outcomes were improved fluency in number facts such as times tables, increased confidence and engagement in numeracy, development of lifelong skills. The actual impact was clear engagement from pupils and families. There was a strong sense of ownership over the learning priorities. It was clearly a positive model of PB in action for small schools and small budgets. Pupils, teachers and parents carers reported an improvement in the mental maths of the young people. This was measured via assessment data, participant feedback and professional judgment of the teaching staff at Underbank Primary School. What's especially commendable is how clearly the school linked their PB activity to pupil need and how well families engaged in the process. This example illustrates that PB is not just about the amount of money you've got, it's about empowering the school community to make informed and shared decisions. In closing, participatory budgeting continues to develop as a valuable mechanism for inclusion and engagement across South Lanarkshire schools and the Clydesdale community. Schools will continue to allocate at least 5% of their PEF budget to PB moving forward, and there is an optional refresher training available again in August for any new leads on PEF. We're encouraged by the strong practice emerging in schools like Underbank Primary School and will continue to work this support and share learning across the area. that brings to an end my report, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Ian. Do we have any questions? Oh, Eileen. Oh, sorry. Did I probably come in first? Yeah. Sorry. Councillor Corbett.
Can you hear me okay?
We can, thanks.
Yeah. No, I'm delighted to see Underbank Primary being used as the example of good practice. It's an excellent wee school within my ward, and in fact my own daughter attended it. Just really wanted to pass on my congratulations to Mrs Miller and the team. It's good to see them doing so well. Thank you.
Thanks, Poppy. Eileen, thanks.
Thanks, Chair. Obviously, Underbank's in my own ward as well, and I attend the parent meetings as much and the teachers' meetings as much as I possibly can. And they are an excellent team, and apart from anything else, they're very engaged and very nice to work with. But on the whole, when I was reading this paper, I'm so pleased at all the different activities that are taking part. And like everywhere else, some of our schools will have more challenges than other schools. They have more difficulties. So it's nice that they're all engaging. And again, you can only speak to who you know. But Carluke High School, I go there. In fact, I'm going tonight on a very regular basis. And when it was first introduced, I never seen a Hy-Vee activity like it. The teachers were engaged, the pupils were engaged, the parents were engaged, and they went an extra mile to make sure, and it's hard for a school with over 1,000 pupils. You know, a smaller school, it's easier to garner people in, and it was excellent, and I'm sure that's right across the board for everybody that's sitting here today. They'll have went above and beyond their, you know, what they should to try and get the best for their schools. I'm always exceptionally proud of all our Clydesdale schools, and they come and they tell you their story, and it's always a great story. So I think we should take back to Education Department and to every school within the Clydesdale area our particular thanks for the hard work that they do and they continue to do, and the difficulties sometimes that they face. And well done Underbank, and well done everybody. And I think it's a great report. Thank you.
Thanks, Eileen. I'm sure Ian will take that back, as instructed by yourself. Quite a range of things that they've all managed to do. There's somebody, £61.25, poor souls, up at Whiston, but they got construction toys. I mean, they managed to spend it, they managed to get something that was worthwhile for them. But no, thanks very much. And I just echo what Eileen says about all the different schools that we've got in the area. We're so lucky with them, and the teachers and staff. So I don't see anybody else asking questions, so if you're free to leave, Ian, thanks very much. Sorry, but you had such a long wait. I enjoyed that. Good, thank you. Thanks. So we're moving on to item 6, which is the forward programme for future meetings, which is pages 15 to 18. So they're just for noting. So is everybody happy with them? Yeah. Okay. And then we're on to number 7, which is the play scheme grant application, pages 19 to 20. So, Cal, if you want to start, thanks.
Thank you, Chair. So Councillor Mars has declared an interest in this item, so can I ask that she now leaves the meeting? Yeah, I can just confirm Councillor Mars has now left the meeting. So this is a standard report which is submitted annually in terms of play scheme grant applications. The background is set out in section 3 of the report, and there is one application for consideration today, which is Lanark Universal Connections, who have applied for summer and October school holiday periods. Therefore, the recommended award is £550. And I'd refer you back to section 2 of the report and ask that the recommendation be approved. Thank you, Chair.
I would agree that report, if I can get a second, and I don't see anybody having anything different to say. Is that okay?
Yep, seconded.
Right, so that's
Great,
approved. Thank you. So item 8 is a community grant applications, pages 21 to 26. And Carol, if you could just speak on this one, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So Councillor Marsh has declared an interest also in the community grants in terms of application E. So I will leave her out of the meeting at the moment and then invite her back in. So yeah, this is our standard report submitted in respect to the community grant applications. Background is set out at section 3 of the report, and we have 10 applications for consideration today. A summary of the financial position is provided in section 5 of the report, and this report is also requesting that the action taken by the Executive Director, Finance and Corporate Resources, in consultation with the Chair, to approve the award of community grants in the period from the last area committee to the end of the financial year 24-25 to the one group which is detailed in Appendix 1, and we're just asking that that be noted. So the recommendations for these current applications are set out in Section 2, and since Councillor Mars has declared an interest, if we want to deal with application E, so that is Kirkfield Home and Sporting Club, Lanark. Purpose of the grant is for equipment administration and publicity, and the estimated cost is £250, and the recommendation is also £250, Chair.
I would agree that about. Do I get a seconder?
Yep, agreed, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if we can invite Councillor Marsh back into the meeting. She's not back with us yet. Okay, that's Councillor Marsh now back with us. So if you come back to application A.
Could I perhaps just suggest that we move the rest on block, unless MD's otherwise minded? If you're otherwise minded, if you would make a, just given the time that we are at now, we've got another item of business. Does MD have any objection to that? Don't see any objection. So can we move everything else apart from E, which has already been agreed, on block? Is that agreed?
Agreed, yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
That just makes it a little quicker for us. Thanks very much. So I have no urgent business, so declare this meeting as closed, and thanks for your attendance. And if you just stay, how are we doing the next one?
The next one will be in Teams, so we need just maybe 10 minutes to change over.
All right, so we need 10 minutes to change over to Teams. So if you're able to join Teams, we've got the antisocial behaviour team coming in to speak to us. Thank you.